Alright folks, Michael, Vintage Diesel Equipment Service. Behind me is a skid steer. And I'm gonna walk you through, well, how to change your fuel water separator in another volume of how to maintenance your skid steer. Next, here on Vintage Diesel. Alright folks, so behind me is a T590. But if you got a Bobcat skid steer or possibly a Kubota, like that one over there, it's probably got a filter such as this. May not be just like it, so look up your model. But in our particular case, our replacement is going to be 7400454. Just going to chunk that dude down there. Before I do all this, have you clicked the like or maybe even that subscribe button? Did you know it helped my channel out greatly? Did you know I also got a little join button? I bet you see it down there. Yep, for just $1 a month you can get a membership to my channel, help support me here, and lead to more content such as this. And also, who knows, you might even find some members only stuff down there that might entice you. So with that being said, let's get on with it. So you're gonna have a fuel water separator just like that one there behind the little squeezy bubble like you probably had in your bass boat. You're gonna need your pair of these. Now at first you're gonna be like, oh, I'll just undo these two clamps. Excuse me. And that's gonna help me get this thing loose. No, it ain't. It's gonna make it worse. So instead, what we're gonna do, if I can hold on to all this at once and do this, we're gonna try it. You're gonna get your clampy clamp in here just like that, okay? And squeeze it hard, and you're gonna turn it just like that. You see how easy it broke loose? Yeah. Well, I hope yours is that simple. But now you're gonna get you a socket. It's probably gonna be an 8mm, and it could be a quarter to hold them clamps. And you're gonna screw them clamps loose, slide it up off of this little buckle here that holds it, pull it out this way, and just unscrew that dude. So let me see what I can do to maybe pull all this off while you watch. I don't know. I can't tell if that's a good view or not. I'll tell you what, we're just gonna go for it. Alright, so yep, look at that. I was right. 8mm, just as I said. Let that fall to the ground. Maybe we can kick it over here in some cow dung here in a moment. That'd be real nice, right? Alright, so we're just gonna spin our clamps. Extension gonna make it a little easier for me. Yeah, just like that. And then we just raise our clamps up. I made it sound simple. Loosen them off a little more. There we go. Alright, now there's one. Oh boy, that clamp's a little tighter on there than I thought, but I got it nonetheless. See? Just like that, folks. Alright? Now, you got your little plug over here on the bottom. Your little electrical plug. You're gonna squeeze your prod and pull it out just like that, okay? And then, now you should just be able to. I didn't say it was gonna be easy. My goodness. It ain't. Golly. You know what? Let's get us a drain pan over here, and we're just gonna crack that open. We're to give us a little air into that thing. This should. Oh yeah. See there? Now, the operators that ran this piece of equipment said this thing was starting to fuel cut on them every now and then. So what we're not going to do is reuse that fuel. Get your clamps off of your filter. I'm going to use a little bit of it to clean my hands though. Also help me judge what shape this diesel that's in this thing is in. I'd say it's in pretty good shape. Alright, let me get some paper towels and wipe my hands off. Okay, so before I put my new filter on, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and try and find out what size we are going to need. Allen wrench wise to open up our bleed screw, because this here is going to allow the air that's going to get trapped in that filter whenever I put it on there and start pumping that pump. I don't want to have to pump for a week to get fluid. And I'm also going to take our filter, because I've got a big fuel tank over here beside where this piece of equipment is stored. Alright, just like that. And I'm going to fill up my filter before we continue. That way it won't take me as long to bleed it. Alright, so me and our new filters will go out of your view for a moment. I'm going to go fill this up and I'll be right back. Alright everybody, I'm back and I've pre-filled my system. Or my filter, my filter. And so now, very carefully, I'm going to have to screw that back together. Oh yeah, there we go, good and tight. Make sure you plug your sensor back in. Okay, just like that. And now I'm gonna start that, but not screw it down tight. I'm gonna turn this around the direction it's supposed to be. Okay, oh, before you can put your, don't do what I just did. Before you hook your electrical system, your switches back up, you need to put your clamps back on, which I didn't think about, and that means I've got to open my clamps all the way up. because they'll never go back on there the way that I've just done this. What an utter pain. And we'll see if it'll open up enough to go on without having to unclamp it. Yeah, it will. Alright, so there's our first one. So, food for thought, just make sure you put these on before you put your filter on your filter base and tighten it down. That way you ain't gotta jump through this particular hoop. Yeah, it's still not loose enough. Just like that. Now you can plug your sensor back like so, and then worm this whole setup back over your canisters and turn the whole thing to where you can get all of this to slide right back in there and situate just like that. All right. Alright, so now I'm going to tighten up my two clamps. Alright, let's get our filter good and tight. And if you can see our bleed screw, let me see. Do you see the bleed screw right there? I don't know. Yeah, you can see your bleed screw right there, okay? Let's slide the camera just a hair. Now what we're gonna do is your little bubble like you had in your, you know, bass boat. You're just gonna pump until all the air leaves, just like that. See that? Now all the air's still got some in it. You just keep pumping there. You'll feel that bubble go real tight. And you'll see that it ain't nothing but fuel coming out at that point. You should just be able to tighten it up at that point. Alright. Once you have it good and tight, then you should be ready. You should be able to cycle your key 2 or 3 times and then crank this thing up. And it may die a couple times at first until it finally picks that fluid up. And then you should be off to the races. So, with that said, moving on to the next thing. Alright folks, so that's got us on how to change the fuel filter and water separator on your Bobcat skid steer. So, with that said, thanks so much for watching. Be sure and tune in for the rest of this series of how to maintenance your skid steer. We're going to see you in the next video. Thanks, y'all.